historically, estate agents in the UK are not the most trustworthy. So as I said, like in the US, I think they did this like massive survey at one of these big conventions. What's the number one most important thing in an agent? And it was trust. It's like trust, brand, results, blah, blah, blah on this list. And then in the UK, the number one is fee. So it's like, who's the cheapest in the UK is the most important, but in the US, it's who do you trust more? So I'm not here to, I can't change the world, you know, in the UK estate agency, but I'm very much trying to push that American, Australian style because they charge good money, they get good results, their social media is incredible, and they earn big money as well. So it's a mistake that people are not doing more of it in the UK.
Yeah, I rate it. Ryan Serhan style.
Yeah.
Love him.
Yeah, he's a boy, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's changed the game.
He has.
He's
He's definitely influenced it. So I'm obviously interested, you know, that's kind of where we're got to today in terms of like, you know, the proposition with the business model. But where did you actually sort of grow up, and I guess what was it like growing up for yourself?
So I'm a Plymouth boy. So I grew up there for sort of 20 odd years. Good, like happy upbringing with my family. And then moved to that luxury construction company. We started with somebody else in the UK.
Let's pull it back. So obviously growing up in Plymouth, what's that like?
Coastal town, in Cornwall, surfing like every weekend, playing a lot of golf, just very relaxed, very chilled out.
Yeah, because obviously we're from Bournemouth, so
right.
I can imagine it being similar,
Yeah,
slow
similar.
pace.
Yeah.
A lot of like outdoor activities and just like, I guess just
Chilling.
Yeah, chilling is the way of like, it is chilled vibes, isn't it? You go to London, you're like, the contrast is just insane.
It was crazy for me. I mean, you never really leave. I'm a big Manchester United fan, so I would go up to Manchester from, you know, time to time, which is a big journey. It's like a 6-hour drive from Plymouth. So yeah, I spent a lot of time watching Manchester United, playing a lot of football myself, playing a lot of golf. Went to uni.
What were you like at school?
Yeah, I was all right. I was a sporty kid. I was a bit of a late bloomer, so girls weren't really on the forefront. I was an odd looking kid, like really like long arms, really skinny, weird, like no facial hair. I think until I was like 19. So that's why I just never shave it. I'm not letting you go. It took so long to get here.
Fair.
So yeah, not really into girls until sort of later on in life. But yeah, I was very business minded. I did business at university as well.
What did you study?
Business studies and marketing.
Oh, okay, cool.
Where do you think that business mind came from? Was it like a family member who was into business, or?
Yeah, so my dad had I think they had like a sandwich company, my mum and dad, when I was growing up. So I don't really know where it came from. I think my uncle was a successful taxi company owner down in Plymouth. I think they turn over a few million. So I was kind of always surrounded by business-ish people. But again, this is Plymouth, like very chilled out. It's not like city boys or brokers or anything like that. It's kind of, I don't really know where it came from, to be honest. But
were you working in the family businesses like part-time or anything like that?
No, I think I had a bit of a very messy kind of childhood. So I think when I was 12, my mum left the family home. So I was with my mum and dad until I was about 12, and then still don't really know what happened. My dad found a new partner. We were there for 5 or 6 years. And then I was just sort of like, at 17, I was like, I have to get out. Like, I'm going to leave. So I went to live with my friends, went to university.
Were you still in contact with your mum at that point, or was she just...
She was gone. So I didn't even know where she'd gone.
What's that do to you sort of in that moment? Because, you know, it's your mum at the end of the day, right?
Yeah, it messed me up. And I think at 12, I mean, nobody really wants to be like a mummy's boy, do they? But like, especially at 12, 13, when you're kind of going through that transition. Well, my transition was later. It was a late bloomer, but yeah, it was a weird one. But luckily, you know, my dad was like very hard on me, very strict. So we had like, you know, it was go to school, don't mope about it too much, which was pretty brutal. So I think that's why a lot of why I am like I am today is because it's been quite regimented, and you've got to look after yourself, and no one else is going to be looking after you kind of mentality. So yeah, so she left, and then I kind of had to pick up the pieces, I guess, with my dad and his new partner. And I kind of went and did my own thing, went to university, did some traveling. Didn't really speak to my dad too much after that because it was kind of messy. And I think the older I got, the more I learnt what was actually going on.
What was going on?
So apparently it was some say it was an abusive relationship on one side. On the other side, it was an affair. And it was like, what's the truth? Because I'd, you know, grown up with my dad, never seen him do anything bad. Like we'd go to United together all the time, and he'd take me to football all the time, and never saw anything bad going on in the household, but it was obviously rumours flying around, and then affairs flying around, all that kind of stuff. So it was intense. It was kind of like emotional. So it was like when I let go and left home and did some traveling and whatever, like the relationship with my mum was kind of non-existent, and then my dad non-existent, and then out of nowhere she reappeared. Like
How old were you when she reappeared?
I think early 20s. So it was like a good 9 years without her, and it was kind of like years without even thinking about her at one point, because it's like I don't even know where she is. And then
You're not like worried and
yeah. But I went through it for years, and I was just like, I got to focus on myself, because I'm going to send myself insane if I carry on.
Did you try and like find her? Or?
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
And I don't think Facebook was really, I think Facebook was kind of, I remember being on it when I was at like 20, I think.
Yeah.
So I'm 37, 38 now. So I don't know whether I just wasn't interested, or whether it was just out sort of like 20 years ago. But it wasn't really a thing that you could search for people. And I was just getting on with my life. I was like, this ruined my childhood. Not going to let it ruin like the next step.